like, this is a bit too much, you know?
Yeah. Did you hear on the forums back in the day, Tom Taylor had the arguments about like it was more about like lifting weights for parkour, like making you big and bulky when it's like it won't necessarily if you're actually doing like strength training, rather than like bodybuilding stuff. But Tom wanted to like prove them wrong that like you can get big and still like jump to a good level and everything. So he was drinking like a gallon of milk a day, he got 100 kilos plus, and then he was just like knackered after like such short training sessions, I think, and felt like his shins were going to explode.
Do you know what?
But you have to be jumping and training like around that time as well. Like if you're getting big and not keeping like the elastic stuff in, like you really notice the difference.
The shins,
then you can't blame it on the weight.
The few places, in my shins is one of the few places where sometimes I wonder, because I'll feel it when I'm training a bit, and sometimes I wonder like, this could just be like an excess weight thing. Like, I don't know if my shins are designed to have, not that anything's designed to have anything go through it, but I feel like they're probably if it was a bit lighter.
I like the pressure it does go through.
What was I going to say? A great example is when I started training parkour, I was probably like 82 to 84 kilos, something like that. And I hit my biggest standing pre ever when I was 92 kilos, so I think that says it really. Don't worry about it. Like, also, if you get too big, you can just stop lifting and you'll go small again. People just overthink it, man. They like just try it, and if it's not helping you, then stop doing it. Like, it's not that complex.
Also stop eating so much as well. Like
and is that who thinks they're going to be that good at bulking? Like
it's actually hard to like achieve like a bodybuilder physique.
You're gonna accidentally get this fucking good level of bodybuilding, so it doesn't just happen.
When I go to Dubai each year, because all the food's paid for, it ends up being like an unintentional winter bulk.
Like a lot of the extra weight will come from like a substantial calorie surplus anyway. Like,
because I feel like I hadn't really done a proper bulk until maybe the first time I went to Dubai and was just eating a lot more food than I usually would, and I started to get bigger, and I was just like, and that's when I went from maybe 86, 87 kilos up to 90 plus, and I was like, oh wow. So the whole time, I just needed to eat more, really. I wanted to bulk. Not that I was trying to do it, but there's not much to it other than train a lot and eat a lot. That's it.
And I think you can, in 2022, I gained a lot of strength while very slowly losing weight by tracking my food intake and everything on FitnessPal and stuff. And it was a very modest calorie deficit. But I was lifting in that time as well and making sure that I was like eating enough and like on top of my macros and everything. And I was able to I lost like 10 kilos in 6 to 8 months or something, and added like, I can't remember, from when I started. I mean, there's so many things into the pot as well, but I gained like maybe 50 kilos onto my deadlift as well.
Yeah, consistency is really king. Like, if you just you can do something sort of all right consistently, and it's better than doing something really well a couple of times.
Oh, and because I was getting lighter and stronger upper body wise at the same time, I also like made some weighted pull up PBs as well. And jumps got better because I was getting lighter and stronger and doing more of like the elastic plyo stuff as well. So yes, it's not like black and white, but like as well, like a bigger muscle, more cross-sectional muscle area, like can have the capacity to produce more force. I guess like you just can get to a cut-off point where like that bigger muscle isn't going to serve you lifting off the ground. Like there will potentially be a cut-off point, but there are still like many things going into the pot at the same time, and maybe a lot of it will come more down to the elasticity and like the stiffness of your tendons and everything as well. Like, training schedule stuff.
I travel a lot, but I try and get in like a weights gym at least once a week, hopefully twice a week. You don't need a lot of training. You don't need like a lot of weight training to maintain what you have, obviously.
Maintenance is
do-
fucking easy.
Yeah,
Like,
really.
it's
If
so
you do
much less.
a few hard sets of whatever muscle group you're trying to maintain a week, just 3 tough sets, then you'll easily hold on to what you got. So yeah, 2 or 3 times a week. Through the winter, like sometimes, I think last winter in Melbourne, I was going to the gym maybe like 5 days a week.
Mm.
Just because, I don't know, yeah, sometimes
That's when it's nice outside as well.
just go, yeah, I'll just go through phases of like, usually it's after SBL,
Yeah.
where I'm a little bit overtraining parkour, and I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity to just, let's see how big I can get for a few months.
Right.
And then, yeah, I'll eventually, something else will come up that just,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
just go
yeah.
surfing or something.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it just happens like that. So
That's pretty
sometimes I'm in the gym a lot. Obviously, you're going to make more progress if you're going like 4 or 5 days a week. But if you just stay consistent over the years, I feel like that's really the key to my physique or my endurance and strength and stuff. I started off. There's a video of me like really struggling to squat 120 kilos for 3, and I think I've been training for a year or so already. And now I can probably do like 160 kilos for the same weight. So like we're talking like 7 years later. It's not an overnight process, you know.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
little gains over a long period of time.
Did you get up to squatting 180 yet?
Yeah, I did. I hit that at the start of last year. I finally got that because I wanted like an Astergrass 180, and I did finally get that. And now obviously I want 200. The real dream for me, I don't know how much of a dream it is, but I'd like it to happen at one point, is to bench 180 kilos.
Yeah.
That's four blue plates each side.
You're close now, right?
I've done 167.5.
Well,
That was not really though, because like the further away you get from where you started, the
Yeah.
harder it is to make
Yeah,
gains.
yeah,
So like to get from
Progression curve is like-
165, yeah, really like that. To get from 165 to 167.5 was like 2 or 3 months of solid lifting.
Mm.
You know, there was a lot of training there. To be fair though, I'd let the bench slip for a month or so, and it'd really, like I said, the further away you get from where you started, the more you're going to slip back when you're not doing the exercises and
So
stuff.
you've got a natural strength.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah.
I think, like, for me, there's like the whole argument of how strong is too strong, and I think it really depends on like if you're willing to train like a power lifter and let parkour fall by the wayside. Like if parkour is always in the front of your mind and that's your reason for training, if you start training like a power lifter, so like high volume training, high frequency, like, and you're going to the gym like 5 times a week,
Yeah.
then that's going to have like a detrimental effect on how much parkour volume that you
Yeah.
can squash into your week at the same time, and as you want to skate as well, and maybe that's more of like a rest day activity for you.
Yeah.
But like I think that's strong enough for me. Like if you're having to go beyond 2 days of lifting a week, like lower body compound exercises, then that's my cutoff point. Like I don't want to get stronger after that, and I'll just like focus on maintenance and then worry about maxing out like the elasticity side and like focus more on plyos,
Yeah,
or just
I'd
be
say
content,
that's-
or just be content on strength, because I don't want to fly. The issue is flying too close to the sun, I guess, and then getting burnt and getting overuse injuries.
Yeah,
Like,
and
because you
you're
don't want to be
talking
fitting
about
in
like
too
1 or
much,
2%.
and that's what fucks me up with my back pain before. Just like thinking that I can squash in so much to my training week. you know.
That
15.
extra session, yeah, it might make you a bit stronger, but we're talking like a couple
Yeah.
of percent, and then that couple of percent has to translate into your parkour, and it's just, you're talking like minuscule.
Yeah,
numbers
exactly.
here.
And that's why like it might not even make sense, especially when you're flirting with higher risks of injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's when like the lifting stuff just doesn't become worth it for me.
I'd
If
also
it
say at the
requires so
moment-
much to make such a minute change,
Yeah.
which like especially as like you could be training outside and making lots of mental gains, which are like maybe the more meaningful
Yeah.
things that are going to
Yeah.
affect your training way higher percentage and is way more enjoyable than like I don't know, like Lawrence Pablo trying to get like add an extra 2 inches onto his standing free on a curve or something.
That's kind of where I'm at the moment with my lifting as well, where like I was thinking going into this SPL season, like my lower body strength it's good enough, so to speak.
Yeah.
Upper body strength also like pretty decent. I'm just gonna push harder down like the plyos route, because
Yeah.
that's just like more low hanging fruit for me. I've been doing it for a couple of years now, but there's still like, compared to lifting, which I've been doing for like 7 or 8 years, there's still like a lot of easy gains to be made with the plyo stuff, I think.
Yeah. And as well as like you seem to, in terms of preparation for SPL, like your training season and everything, like how things are periodized, compared to say Joe Rizzo or Daryl Stingley, you keep like the skills aspect in, like high variety of skill training, confidence training,
Yeah.
like that stays in all year round, like seemingly the same volume.
It definitely drops off
Um,
after SPL for like at least a couple
Okay,
of months, 2 or 3
yeah.
months, and I'll just won't train that much. I'll do some other activities.
Whereas what I've noticed, at least from what they upload, Daryl Stingley and Joe Rizzo, like Joe Rizzo's like winter arc and everything, like he'll be like, all of his training stress will be coming from the Olympic lifts, and then like a month out from competition or something. Same with Daryl Stingley. Then you'll see them doing like skill stuff, and
Yeah.
like Daryl Stingley's skill training seems to be like this very insulated, like maxing out 180s and dynos in like his new little gym kind of thing. And it just seems like you're prioritizing things that aren't necessarily the most specific to the demands of the competition.
Yeah, I feel. Yeah, I try and get myself in good shape for the and just keep my body high as I come into the. I'll be thinking about. I need to come in with a really good mental game. So. That's all part of the fun, really. And like that'll ramp up so much that last year I felt like I peaked really well, where I went into the competition like my mental game was really strong. I felt like I'd peaked really nicely.
Yeah.
And then like that just gives you the confidence to.
And it's not even, it doesn't even necessarily need to be like a intense ramp up of